Innovation Tri-Valley Leadership Group, and welcome to the Tracy Community Center. Innovation Tri-Valley Leadership Group is a network of business leaders representing the business sector of the Tri-Valley, which is both counties, Alameda and Contra Costa, and encompasses San Ramon, Danville, Dublin, Livermore, and Pleasanton. And so one of our priorities is critical connections and connecting people and goods, and of course the business community is really advocating for Valley Link. So that is why we're here today, and I'm very excited to introduce our Master of Ceremonies, who I know probably most of you were personally invited by today, and that is, I always want to call her Mayor Melissa Hernandez, but she is not. So, Melissa was appointed to the BART Board of Directors on Thursday, May 23rd, 2024, to the seat representing District 5, which includes the cities of Castro Valley, Cherryland, Dublin, Fairview, Hayward, Livermore, Pleasanton, and Sunol. Now here's something really interesting that I just had to fact check with her. Hernandez is the first Latina to serve on the BART Board of Directors. Wow. Male or female? I fact checked that because I said there's got to be a Latino, right? And she said no. So, obviously Melissa was a Dublin council member for 8 years and served as the city's mayor for 4 years until June. And she's chaired 3 regional transit boards, the Livermore-Amador Valley Transit Authority, LAFTA, Wheels, who's here today, Tri-Valley San Joaquin Valley Regional Transportation Authority, Valley Link, and the Finance Committee of the Alameda County Transportation Commission. As mayor, Alameda County Transportation Commission member, and chair of regional transit boards, Hernandez has championed local health, safety, environmental, and economic interests, and has led efforts to reduce traffic congestion and improve access to transit throughout the Tri-Valley area. She's also a working mom who also serves as a top Alameda County legislative aide overseeing health and human services to the Tri-Valley communities. So welcome, Melissa Hernandez.
Thank you, Katie. Yes, it took BART 50 years to finally get a Latina on there, but we'll save that for later. They work a little slow sometimes. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I just want to say welcome and thank you for taking the time out of your very busy day to come join us this afternoon. I would also like to at this time recognize our Valley Link board, so if you could please just all stand very quickly and wave your hands so that folks know who they're sitting next to. And would also like to give a big thank you to our Assembly member, Carlos Villapruta, who will provide some remarks later in this program. So please stand, Assembly member. And we wouldn't be having this wonderful lunch without our sponsor, AECOM, this afternoon. And would also like to thank all of our other sponsors that if you have not visited their tables, please make sure you go by there and look and see what's happening and what's up in their current agendas and moving forward. Is the San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission, ACE, the Tracy Earth Project, the Tracy Chamber of Commerce, and Innovation Tri-Valley and the Livermore-Amador Valley Transit Authority, Wheels, and San Joaquin Air Pollution Control. They're all here in this room, but again, I wanted to give AECOM another big shout out for hosting the lunch for today. I would also like to recognize those few folks that are here in both the private and the public sector who are actively working to support the green energy economy in the San Joaquin Valley, including Stanislaus Regional Transit District and Tracy Tracer, who are working to advance plans to transition their bus fleets to zero emissions. And that's really a key point, because not only are they working hard, but a lot of other bus agencies are working really hard to be able to get to their, their visions of being able to have zero admissions. I'd also like to start off our lunch off today with a short video that highlights the daily lives of commuters who travel daily through the Altamont Pass, whether it be for work, school, and access to opportunities for looking at other areas of the Tri-Valley and beyond, and also for a better quality of life. Before we move forward, I do not want to forget one person that's sitting in the audience, and I know it's Veronica Vargas, and she was on previously on our board, and so she was one of our leaders when this initially started many years ago. And so to be able to have been a representative, I know for Tracy and myself for the city of Dublin, because I always like to say, once a mayor, always a mayor, you get to the mayor's club. But definitely to be able to see this project come to fruition. When I first got on the board, I didn't realize how much intense work it is to kind of have a startup kind of agency, and to have learned so much from our executive director, Kevin Sheridan. Kevin, please stand. I just want to give you a big shout out because I know we've been through some obstacles, but also COVID. COVID put us a few years behind, and I think it put a lot of our cities and counties a few years behind. So just wanted to let everyone know that we are working very hard to try to get back on track and to keep things moving. But before we move forward, I do want to say thank you to Katie Marcel from Innovation Tri-Valley, who has made this possible. All these things look like they're easy, but it's just we want to make sure that it flows very well. And also all of our staff at Valley Lane. You worked really hard making sure that today was able to happen. So thank you to all of our staff. And then we will go ahead and play just a small video so you kind of understand where the folks are coming from.
I get up about 4 o'clock in the morning.
It is completely inevitable.
Frustrating. I mean, it really is.
I like a coffee, take deep breaths, and then go on the road.
Hours before sunrise, the grid approaching the Altamont Pass already stretches for miles.
A nightmare. By 4 in the morning when I'm on my way to work, it's already in the red. They're in a rush to get somewhere and they get nowhere. We're all stuck on the freeway.
This is the grueling trek for those who live in the Central Valley but work in the Bay Area. More than 105,000 people drive over the Altamont Pass every single day, one of the most congested commutes in the country.
Everyone I know is making this drive.
Some of these so-called supercommuters are spending upwards of 5, even 6 hours a day sitting in bumper-to-bumper backup.
That is time that they're not spending with their families. That's time they're not coaching softball. That's time they're not going to soccer. They're not spending time with their kids doing homework.
The amount of time is pretty ridiculous.
He's gone. The kids don't see him. I hardly see him.
It has gotten so bad, one man even does the commute on his bike.
Things are broken here. We have one channel to get to the major metropolis for everyone to work at. I don't know how else to put it. There has to be an answer.
You are facing a crisis. It's tens of thousands of people, and the number's going to rise. We have to figure out other ways to move people other than building freeways. We can't continue to build asphalt. We can't continue to widen our freeways, and quite frankly, we've widened them to capacity at this point. What's missing, clearly, is an effective mass transportation system that connects the Bay Area with the Central Valley. That's a problem that we need to solve, and we need to solve it now.
So that's just a little glimpse of what happens every morning with folks from this area going into the Tri-Valley, Alameda County, and beyond. The first time I watched watched that video, it made me really emotional because of the fact that folks have to be sitting in a car for such a long time just to get to work. And it's unfortunate that it's taken this long for there to be conversation. And so that's what we hope at Valley Link, that we will be able to make lives better. The Valley Link Rail Project is a mega solution to the jobs and housing challenges faced by the Northern California mega region, with an emphasis on access to opportunity for equity-focused communities. The Northern California mega region is challenged by one of the most significant job housing imbalances in the state, with only one home being built in the Bay Area for every 6 jobs generated and housing costs in the Bay Area, being 3 times those in the San Joaquin Valley. This challenge has resulted in some of the longest commute times, highest congestion, and worst air qualities in our country. Today, there is no clean, reliable, high-frequency transit alternative to vehicular congestion on Interstates 205 and 580 for more than 105,000 Bay Area workers now commuting daily from their homes in our communities here in San Joaquin. The sustainability vision of the Valley Link Rail Project seeks to connect the Northern California mega region with the first passenger rail system in California running on self-produced green hydrogen and hydrogen fuel production facility able to support the clean energy goals of other transit and heavy truck operators. This business model is intended to serve as not only a catalyst for private investment, but a catalyst for green energy economy with the Northern California mega region, accompanied by workforce development to create and sustain living wage jobs. The authority's green hydrogen production facility is a bold vision to establish a mega regional green hydrogen hub, integrating production and use by the transportation sector. I'm excited to have Livermore Amador Valley Transit Authority, Wheels, and Las Positas College representatives here today to share details of advancing hydrogen electrification and deployment, partnership with the Valley Link Rail Project. I'm also excited for the opportunity to highlight San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission plans to deploy hydrogen vehicles in workforce training. So we will go ahead and please ask our speakers to come forward, and we will also return to Valley Link Executive Director Kevin Sheridan, which he will provide us with a project updated before inviting our guest speakers. So please come forward, Kevin.
Thank you, Chair, and welcome. I'll provide an update and then a bit of background on why I feel Valley Link's important also. So, we have a slide for, if not, I could talk for hours about it. So, what's seen here is really represents what is the rail connections where we live at and our connections to the Bay Area and beyond. So, the blue lines on the left are the existing BART system, and then the purple line is the ACE system, which I worked for San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission prior to Valley Link, and very proud to have them here as a partner, and their expansions to Sacramento and Merced are the most immediate rail projects that are going to get built that we will see. There's a lot of other projects in the state on much longer timelines for many different reasons, but ACE is truly fantastic agency, and their work and efforts to expand rail for the public is truly amazing. So that purple line, as you see, it comes, in this case, from Stockton to out of Lathrop, and as it travels down, it somewhat intersects with Valley Link on the Altamont Pass, and I'll talk about that in a moment. The green lines you see here, the solid green line, is what's called the initial operating phase. dashed green line is the old alignment that was previously studied for Valley Link in 2021. That EIR was completed and it looked at a 42-mile alignment that not only went from Dublin, Isabel, and South Front Street, but that circle where it says Mountain House Alternative, that's what was identified as the Mountain House Alternative. Well, anybody that is familiar with the area knows that Mountain House is not there. So to attract ridership for Mountain House would require, and I just heard from at our board meeting, people aren't gonna drive reverse directions to go another direction. So if you wanna go west, you're not necessarily, a commuter isn't gonna necessarily drive east to catch a train that's going west. It's like, if somebody's stuck at 205 and 580, most likely they're not gonna drive south to Mountain House 580 to catch the train. Although the commute traffic is bad enough, they might consider it, but it's out of direction travel. And when it comes to transit with rail and buses, it's about convenience to travel in public. And then, so that solid green line, the Alameda County Transportation Commission allocated $400 million for construction, and then MTC funded the environmental portion of that. So we're able to carve out a piece of that 42 miles, which is now 22 miles, and out of what we now have is $800 million in identified funds from local sources and state funds. We're now able to go out and leverage federal funds. So the project was able to get into a federal program called the Capital Investment Grant. It's part of the infrastructure bill. When we originally proposed for that grant, we were looking at a 25% match, which is approximately $450 million. We are likely going to take that up to the highest percentage that we can go, which is 49%. Effectively raises the amount we get from the federal government, possibly to $850 million. So as we look at a $1.8 billion, $1.9 billion project, we have $854 million. We're leveraging another $850. Get to that 1.6, we start narrowing that gap in the construction. There's a lot of questions about construction funding, and I want to make sure that it's out there that because the local agency was put up, local transportation agency put up local dollars, that in effect leverages other federal dollars and state dollars. So it's very important. And we had one of these events in Dublin, and it was very successful and a lot of interest. I'm very happy to see the turnout today. And I thought I was trying to figure out what I wanted to say as far as what it means to have enthusiasm in this county, which we have. Our board is fantastic, and I wouldn't be here and can't have any Valley Link without a picture of Scott Haggerty somewhere. It was on the video earlier. But in 2004, my deputy director and I, Will Ritter, we sat out here on 205 because there was a campaign by Whit Loftus, whose name's on the Crosstown Freeway. And I was working at Caltrans at the time, and Will Ritter was working for the San Joaquin Council of Governments, who was instrumental in getting the sales tax passed in this county with his nonstop dog and pony shows to every city and anybody that would listen. But we didn't have any money to widen 205. And we had $20 million in state money. And because the region came together, we were able to pass sales taxes and leverage other funds. And next thing we know, we had a whole program of projects, and I ended up leaving Caltrans to go work for San Joaquin Council of Governments on all the highway programs, which we built 99 from Hammer Lane to 120. We did the Crosstown Freeway, we did 205, we did the auxiliary lanes, and we did a host of other projects that we were just lucky to be a part of, once-in-a-lifetime projects. With 205 going to 4 lanes to 6 lanes seemed significant, and when we opened those lanes in 2007 or 8, there were people calling me, I think sometimes very emotional because of the 20 minutes they got back on their life out of their commute, because now they can do 70 miles per hour to Tracy. But I always feel good when I can go the speed limit. But it really was that impactful to me that it meant something to travel in public, because that's what we all are in this for, is to improve transportation. Now, the thing about that time period though was the main reason why we were able to get to work so much quicker is because we were entering into a recession. And the building industry had fallen fallen off, and so a lot of those people commuting over to the Bay Area. The construction workers, the building industry, it wasn't the permits for new buildings and housing, it wasn't there anymore. So in 2013, guess what happens? Everything comes back with a vengeance, and all of a sudden, 205 looks exactly like it does at 6 lanes as it did when we were working on it when it was 4 lanes. So yes, it has more capacity, but it induces demand, more businesses here in Tracy and in Lathrop, and more homes in Modesto, and ACE is handling some of that ridership because they're making expansions to Modesto and down in the southern part of Stanislaus County. And it just shows the reasons that we need to have a diverse multimodal transportation system. And we are behind. You look at other countries, we have people come to our board meetings showing us stuff from other countries, and I've lived in other countries too with different transportation systems. And we can't widen 205 anymore. It's just not feasible to do it. And not only that, but in, I think, August of 2020, a new law was passed for vehicle miles traveled, which meant that in order to widen a freeway, you had to show how you're going to mitigate the greenhouse gas. And the only way to really do that is by having a rail or bus system. Now, in this corridor, the rail system makes the most sense. We already have an existing operator at ACE. We have our project in solid green line, initial operating signal goes to Mountain House at 205. What that means is all the traffic that comes up 99 through Ripon and goes across through Manteca on 120, and the traffic coming from 8 Mile Road in Stockton, they converge on I-5 at 205, and we end up right here what we call the Tracy Triangle. So having a train station at Mountain House will help create an opportunity for people to get off the road, reduce congestion, which will also help with truck throughput traffic, because the only way you can get more trucks to move on the freeway is by getting rid of, having commuters go somewhere else, so going to a train system. So that's the real excitement for me is coming from working in aviation and in highways, is that it's really come full circle where, widening the highways is not the answer anymore, unfortunately, so we have to have a very diverse multimodal transportation system. And trains and buses really work well when they meet up together. When you have schedules for trains and buses that meet the timetable, that's when your transportation system really works. And we've assembled a great panel here, and they're going to talk about bus transit, but that leads us into where are buses going? You can hear from that, but there's a mandate, I think, the governor's executive order is that all new buses by 2029, and I'm sure someone will correct me, but they need to be zero emission vehicles. So Valley Link was very fortunate that Tracy, as a part of this project, donated a significant portion of land, and because of that was going to be the original heavy maintenance facility, and new trains don't need heavy maintenance. So when you get new trains, they don't require the type of maintenance that people see in the movies. It's not even the same. The closest I can tell you what a modern rail facility looks like is this. It's right in the middle of the community. It's a silver LEED environmental friendly facility. It's won numerous awards. No complaints up there from the community about it. It's right. It's running out of space. It's so built. But because we got the property in Tracy, we're able to look at an area when hydrogen was starting to ramp up a couple years ago. We did a feasibility study, and we were able to get legislation that approved Valley Link. Senator Eggman and Senator Villapado have been great in supporting us from our state legislators. And we were able to get this bill passed that named Valley Link as the first transit agency in the state to be able to produce or build a hydrogen facility. So we wanted to take advantage of that. So we have this property in the commercial industrial area, and we're going to be able to construct and continue to seek funds through San Joaquin Council of Governments and other state sources to build this hydrogen facility. And what that's going to do is create a lot of jobs here in the city of Tracy, and it's going to produce hydrogen for a number of the businesses and the other transit systems that are switching over to hydrogen. So it really is a unique opportunity for the region to be first in this area, to be able to produce hydrogen and supply it for the buses and the businesses in trying to achieve zero emission goals of the state. I will just sit up here and talk for hours about this stuff, so I need to cut myself off and turn it over to our panel, otherwise I lose all our time.
So, us as board members, we sit on all these boards and we get as much information as we can, but I will tell you that to have an executive director with so much knowledge, whether it's about rail or highway, it's extremely important because it helps the entire board understand the projects as well, because these are votes that we have to take. So again, thank you, Kevin. And wanted to go ahead and introduce our panelists this afternoon. First, we have Christy Wagner. She's our Executive Director of the Livermore-Amador Valley Transit Authority, and she will provide us with an overview of the Advancing Hydrogen Electrification and Deployment Project ahead, in partnership with Valley Link and Las Positas College. Second, we have Momoko Tamaki, Deputy Director of Planning, Grants and Programs for the San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission, which will provide an overview of the BRIGHT project and state rail fleet deployment for Valley Link. And last, we have Bethany McCormick, Employer Engagement Specialist at Las Positas College, which she will review the hydrogen workforce development.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna yell really loud. I'm Christy Wagner. I am so pleased to be with you today. I am the Executive Director of the Livermore-Amador Valley Transit Authority, or LAVTA, as we are known. Just gonna give it a second. So while we queue up our slides, I'll just share with you, we are the operator of the Wheels bus system in the Tri-Valley cities of Livermore, Dublin, and Pleasanton. We provide local bus service throughout the Tri-Valley, as well as feeder and first and last mile service to our 3 ACE rail stations and our 2 BART stations. And we are the proud future provider of seamless, zero emissions, first and last mile bus service to our 3 Valley Link stations in the Tri-Valley. I was invited to speak with you today about our AHEAD project, which is a joint grant application between Valley Link and LAVTA that charts a path towards a zero-emission, sustainable, green energy transportation future. So if y'all could do me just a little favor today and send your good juju vibes to the decision makers in Sacramento who are evaluating the grants right now, that would be super duper. So what is AHEAD? AHEAD stands for Accelerating Hydrogen Electrification and Deployment. As mentioned, it is our joint grant application to the state of California's Transit and Intercity Rail Capital Program, or TIRCP. We are requesting almost $70 million for our project, and we are bringing to the table a significant local match. There are 4 components to the application, which I will detail in a few slides. But stepping back, to win this money, you have to demonstrate that you will be reducing GHG, or greenhouse gas. And we accomplish this in AHEAD with new zero emissions buses for more service, with expanded maintenance infrastructure for a future expanded zero emission fleet, and for infrastructure for local hydrogen production. All right, so we have 6 goals of AHEAD. The first is to catalyze the production of clean hydrogen energy in the Tri-Valley, San Joaquin Valley mega region. We aim to increase transit service connecting to ACE and BART in the Tri-Valley. And we aim to increase transit ridership and reduce greenhouse gas and improve congestion in the mega region. We aim to construct a new zero emissions maintenance facility that will support expanded LAVTA services, including our ability to be an effective first and last mile provider to future Valley Link stations. We aim to increase the number of good local paying clean energy jobs and advance workforce development programs to upskill our current workers and ready a pipeline of new workers. So I wanted to just spend a couple minutes talking to you about why are we partnering together. As Kevin noted, and you were correct, Kevin, transit agencies in California are required to be zero emissions by 2040, beginning with every bus purchased in 2029. My board, they approved a plan to be fully zero emissions by 2034, beating the state mandate by 6 years. But we cannot do that. We cannot do that if we do not have more infrastructure, affordable hydrogen, and a skilled workforce. The current price of hydrogen is 2.5 times the price of diesel, and is not produced anywhere local. Agencies are trucking it in from Reno, Vegas, and Irvine, and that adds more GHGs into the environment, which does defeat the purpose of a zero emissions future, right? So without a local, affordable hydrogen supply, our zero emissions future could be limited to a few bus lines, which will not help in accomplishing the state's aggressive climate goals. Existing partnerships already exist between Las Positas College and UC Merced for green energy jobs. We already have a solid foundation supporting our commuting students, offering free rides on wheels and discounted rides on ACE Rail. And this project increases connectivity to both ACE and BART, which will be essential in encouraging the use of transit by current and future students and workers. And this provides much needed maintenance capacity for future Valley Link zero emissions first and last mile service. So I wanted to talk about the geography of our partnership here. We are in 2 counties, but there is an invisible county line separating us, right? So I just wanted to show you, kind of orient you to where we are. That's our current facility. When we get money, we're moving right across the street. We've got our 3 Valley Link stations here. We have our ACE Rail stations, and I'm not showing the Pleasanton ACE station, I apologize for that. We've got our future hydrogen production facility in Tracy. We have Las Positas College, and we have Gillig. And for those of you who don't know, Gillig is one of the 2 U.S. bus manufacturers in the United States, and they are right across the street. And they are working on going to market with their fuel cell bus. So there are jobs here. We have a lot of activity between our 2 counties, and we have a vested interest. LAFTA has a vested interest in doing what we can to facilitate seamless connectivity from our existing rail stations as well as our future Valley Link stations. And importantly, the AHEAD project will deliver a footprint of new service that will prime the pump for future Valley Link ridership. So what are we asking for in our $70 million grant? We are asking for phase 1 of Valley Link's hydrogen production facility in Tracy. So that would be 32 acres. We are asking for more buses for expanded service to implement our 2030 vision, to add in additional weekend frequency, and to add in 3 microtransit zones. We are asking for funding to construct our Atlantis maintenance facility, which again is going to be the future home of our zero emissions fleet. And we are partnering with Las Positas College and the California Transit Training Consortium on workforce development, so we can develop hydrogen training curriculum and an apprenticeship program. And the benefits from our project: reduce congestion and emissions. We have better connections to BART and ACE 7 days a week. We predict 1,300 more daily trips taken on wheels. We see an increase in ACE and BART ridership. Over the life of our project, we see a reduction in 40 million vehicle miles traveled and 43,000 metric tons of greenhouse gas. This produces a local supply of clean hydrogen energy. Phase 1 of Valley Link's hydrogen production facility will produce 1,000 kilograms of clean hydrogen for LAFTA and potentially other users. This allows LAFTA to budget with reliable costs for hydrogen, and having a local source enables us to even further reduce GHGs. And we are really thinking about our workforce. We can't do any of this without our workforce. And so we are very excited to develop our workforce. with new hydrogen training curricula at Las Casitas, with development of 9 courses through the California Transit Training Consortium, and then dedicating hands-on high-voltage learning space at our future facility for students. So, you have till October 23rd to spread your good juju for our grant. That's when we'll hear. But nonetheless, we are moving forward with our zero emissions future. I'm hopeful we'll get the TIRCP grant, but we are breaking ground on a fueling station in 2025, which we expect to be complete within about 18 months. And we're buying fuel cell buses, so we will be purchasing our first batch of fuel cell buses this fiscal year. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to your questions later.
And the next presentation that we have will be from San Joaquin Rail, Momo. Please come forward. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Momo Tamaoki. I am the Deputy Director of Planning, Grants, and Programming at San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission. So San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission, we provide 2 different types of rail services. One is called ACE. It's a commuter rail services that connects the community of Stockton all the way to San Jose. And we also partner with San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority as well as Caltrans to provide intercity rail service. That connects a lot of community all the way from Sacramento to Bakersfield and all the way from Sacramento to Oakland. Today, I'm here with my colleagues, Megan Craig and Jonah Mendelson, to talk about the TIRCP application. I also would like you all to spread good juju for our application as well, because we applied as well. So our application was called Bridging Rail Initiatives, Technology and Education. And the catchy acronym that we came up with is BRIGHT. I think it's so fitting. And then we will highlight 2 projects included in the application, which is the Hydrogen Locomotive Conversion Project, as well as the Rail Academy of Central California, which is our workforce development program. So here is a quick agenda for our presentation today. I will introduce my colleagues who are the project manager for their respective projects that they want to talk about. And I will quickly go over the program of projects included in the TIRCP Cycle 7 application. And Jordan will do a deeper dive into the Hydrogen Locomotive Conversion Project. And Megan will talk about our workforce development program, the Rail Academy of Central California, also known as TRACC. And we'll have the Q&A in the end. So I've already introduced myself, so I'm gonna go ahead and quickly move over to Jordan. So Jordan Mendelson is the Rail Commission's new Chief Mechanical Officer. He may be brand new at our agency, but he's a veteran who's been around for a long time in this industry. So Jordan has spent 24 years in large diesel and transportation maintenance, 17 years of which in rail vehicle engineering, development, and commissioning. As part of the development team at Siemens, that's where I met him about 10 years ago. He was on the other side of the table from me. So we were working on the test plan together of the new Tier 4 charger locomotives for Caltrans. And then he was also working on the venture rail car for Brightline in Florida. As a consultant, Jordan also helped lead the zero emission teams with the specification development and negotiation of the Caltrans Stadler Flirt H2 contracts that will be supplying the new hydrogen zero emission multiple units, which will be deployed on our new Valley Rail line. Let me introduce you to Megan Craig. So she is the Rail Services Coordinator for the San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission. She has worked in the passenger rail industry since 2022 when she joined the Rail Commission's admin department. Megan has been administering the Rail Commission's workforce development program
Track C with educational partner Sac City College since 2023. But even prior to that, in her previous employment for Adidas, she was working on recruitment and then talent development. So she has extensive work experience and knowledge in this area. So Megan coordinates with the various education and operations partners that are involved in the program and performs outreach to interested entities within our community. She's very excited to lead the charge with the workforce development program and work alongside the transit partner to fulfill employment needs as the industry continues to grow. Thank you, Jordan and Megan, for being here with me today to represent our agency well. So let me quickly go over the TERSIP application. So as I said earlier, we also applied for the 2024 Transit Inner City Rail Capital Program in July 2024. And there were a lot of projects that were included in the application. So the GRIDE is really a program of a project. So the first one was Stockton Diamond Grade Separation. I think some of you may already know about this project. Madera High-Speed Rail Station design. And we are also embarking on the commuter and inner city rail connected under integrated ticketing system to really streamline ticketing system for our ACE, San Joaquin, and future high-speed rail service. That's a huge undertaking. And then we also included the hydrogen F4 locomotive conversion project that we already received some funding from state government for this project, so we are trying to fund that remaining unfunded portion. And then we also asked for some money for the Track C project so that we can continue with our workforce development program. And then last but not least, we also asked for planning money so that we can continue to look into network integration between the three services that we would be responsible for, which is the ACE and San Joaquin and the future high-speed rail. So in this presentation, we will be highlighting the two projects, locomotive conversion and Track C. So here's a quick overview of the hydrogen F40 locomotive conversion project, and then Jordan will do a deeper dive into this project in the later slides. So we worked with Mott MacDonald and Deutsche Bahn to evaluate the various zero-emission technologies for conversion of existing F40 locomotives. This is the same team who also assisted San Bernardino transportation agencies for their technology evaluation, as well as the design and implementation of the ZEMU project. So we hired the best of the best to help us as well. Their study indicated that hydrogen and battery electric hybrid is the best solution for our service based on the operational constraints that we have and the range that we have to achieve, and then also the performance requirements that we have. So based on all of this, we plan to convert 3 of our existing F40s to operate as a pilot program on the existing ACE corridor between Stockton and San Jose, as well as portion of the future planned Valley Rail corridor. So the funding that we requested in the TERSIP application is for the design, engineering, and procurement phase of the locomotive conversion project. Next steps for this project include the market outreach, development of technical specifications for procurement of a conversion kit for the locomotives, and the further definition of the hydrogen refueling and maintenance facility needs for our agency. And now on to another exciting project, the Rail Academy of Central California, Track C. So Megan will do a deeper dive into this in later slides. So the Track C, led by the Rail Commission and Sac City College, is a workforce training program that provides marketable skills to high school students and adult learners in our region. Track C is designed for people pursuing career as a railroad conductor or engineer. And then it's really operating and working out as a strategic partnership between educational and business entities such as Stockton Unified, Sac City, Amtrak, TASI, and Union Pacific. The requested funding in the TERSIP application will cover instructor costs such as their salary and benefits, as well as equipment and laptops that they need. And then also supplies needed for the students onboard instruction, such as railroad radios and flares, their PPE, safety glasses and vests and work boots, and then also costs needed for marketing and transportation. The Rail Commission and our partners' goal really is for this program is to provide the youth and the adult learners of Stockton and the surrounding region with the opportunity to gain expertise, knowledge, and skill set to really position themselves for success in the rail industry. So with that, I would like to hand it over to Jordan to provide more information about our hydrogen F40 locomotive conversion project.
Thank you, Momo. So Momo and I have actually worked together for 10 years, and it's been pretty amazing because we've worked on opposite sides, same side, now we're actually on the same team. So it's pretty exciting. What we'd like to go over is there's a lot of talk about what to do for energy, alternative, zero emissions, what that means. They don't all work the same. Obviously, everyone knows that. There's a lot of gravitation towards hydrogen, towards battery electric, and overhead electrification. All of them have a purpose. All of them have a suited opportunity to help out with the climate crisis and our goals. One of the upgrades or one of the developments that happened at San Joaquin with ACE Service was a grant that was given by the air quality districts. And that took and replaced the 3 of the F40 locomotives that were considered what's called Tier 0, so they're original no emissions controls, and replaced those with Tier 4. When you do that, you're left with a decommissioned locomotive. And most people think about new technology, new vehicles, and they don't think about the manufacturing and energy expense to build a new car show. They're oftentimes built to last 50, 80, even 100 years. There's a lot of energy that goes in, and when you retire it, you just kind of scrap it for the metal. It doesn't do a lot for the environment, doesn't help anything out. So ACE and San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission brought together a pretty good sized group of stakeholders to begin the development of a reuse program for the F40 locomotives. It's not entirely new for the industry. There's a few projects that are coming up. We're in communication with most of them, and bringing in some of these partners can also help develop the opportunity for other agencies to also follow suit and reuse or repurpose their old locomotives rather than just send them to the scrapyard. They're still useful life, and that's also reduced emissions. Identifying the type of energy or type of technology to use is critical. So finding out what there is in the market, what's feasible, going through all of the processes to get down to the point where you're modeling it, seeing can we make it over the pass and back on a refuel cycle. Does it make sense to do all of this? Is there, there's a well-to-wheel conversion to say how much energy does it take, how many emissions are produced by producing this energy and producing this vehicle. It's not just a picture of, well, the tailpipe has no emissions because your tailpipe could be 400 miles away at a coal-powered plant. We don't want to do that. We want to go in the direction of saying, listen, the energy should come from resources. The vehicles should be as green as we can make them. And repurposing a locomotive is a great way to do that. As Momo mentioned, you have great partners who are industry experts in hydrogen, in transportation. Mott MacDonald has been a great partner. I worked with them as a consultant in other industries as well as Deutsche Bahn. And so we'll walk through just a very brief introduction of how the technology is assessed and why hydrogen and battery electric were selected as a suitable alternative. There's basically up here we have 6 different technologies. A lot of them are a blend of different things. They have to do with energy storage, whether that's hydrogen is a form of energy storage, a battery, supercapacitors, and trying to evaluate those and the infrastructure required to power those or to refuel them and take them out. And going through all of this, it was first to identify what is the feasibility to use this locomotive for, and what kind of technology could we package and repackage into that locomotive to suit the purpose and to get us over the pass and back. As we know, the pass has grade elevation and things to make it across, so you've got an energy challenge, which is it's good because if we're gonna prove that this technology, this concept works, we've got a great opportunity to show it here that has a pretty difficult pass to make it through in order to run it as well. Going through and evaluating all of these, you have to create a vision where you have to kind of really assess what are your priorities. You know, the priorities can't just be simply, I'd like to go green, I'd like to build a locomotive. That it doesn't work that way. You need to understand all of the weighted criteria that are going to go into producing this unit and what it will do and what it will produce in the end. After all, we're going to invest a lot of money into this. The public is, the boards, all of these surrounding areas are going to invest a lot of money into it. We need to know that while this is a somewhat of a prototype project, it's not intended to be pop it up, run it, and put it away. It's intended to extend the useful life of this equipment and into the future while additional technologies are developed and deployed. So currently around the globe, there are multiple projects that have been using hydrogen. Most people, the hydrogen technology or fuel cell technology is rather new. Fuel cells were developed, originally conceived in the 1800s. Obviously technology has changed or evolved just a little bit to be able to make it to the point where we're at. But there have been major breakthroughs that have happened in the last 10 years, which is starting to make all of these feasible and a practical reality. The Island train in Germany has been operating for 8 years, I believe it is. Early adopter, Canadian Pacific was building their locomotive conversion project, and then the one on the bottom is part of the project. We're part of the ZEMU, or Flirt H2 is being procured by Caltrans and will be operated and maintained by the San Joaquin Rail Commission as per the Valley Rail program. So going through all of these, obviously a very, very high importance on safety is one that people have to fully understand. They hear hydrogen, they think bikini and toll, they think, you know, well, this is a scary thing, this is dangerous. All energy stored has a hazard to it. It's how you assess it, how you mitigate those hazards, and how you keep the public and those working on it safe. And that's one of the areas that we step to from the very beginning is how do we do this in a safe way? How is it going to be cost effective, and how can we make it reliable so that people ride the train and go to work? If you ride the train, it's always late, it breaks down, there's problems with it. You can't call your boss every day or every 3 days and tell them, hey, sorry, I won't make it this morning because the train's broken down. So reliability and safety are utmost items we have to consider. Hydrogen, you have the vehicle component of this that you need to consider, but you also need to consider the infrastructure. That's where, you know, all of this luncheon is a perfect gathering of people with the right vision, the right direction to go, because hydrogen infrastructure is often overlooked when we go into these projects. You want to buy buses, you know, you'd like to get everything in place, and, you know, there's a very good purpose of going to zero emissions, but if you don't have the infrastructure to back it, and to fuel it, and to consistently fuel it, then you'll have a problem. And so it's now, we're very lucky that there are many programs that are starting to pop up and start to do this. A lot are in communication with each other. There's going to be a lot of lessons learned in early phases of putting these together. One of the projects that Momo mentioned was the SBCTA ZEMU, or the Flirt project they have down there, which was in partnership and working with Caltrans. What we did was develop the specifications for that program with the intent to develop the first prototype hydrogen vehicle to run in California, and then from there expand it to be able to achieve different goals. Part of that is also looking at the hydrogen infrastructure that's needed to both create clean hydrogen and to dispense it and be able to fuel the vehicles reliably. These are some of them that we're starting to step through now. We're fortunate that at the ACE facility we have 2 programs feeding into there. We have both our F40 conversion as well as the Valley Rail ZEMU vehicles that will be going in. So there's also a very good opportunity for investments. And so if you know anyone, please contact Momo. She's always looking for money, and she's got the money. But what it does is hopefully it'll also take and give us enough of a reach to help demonstrate it and also help out partner agencies in their struggles of what they're trying to do. Sometimes it's a little more difficult with smaller agencies in order to get all of this off the ground and get it running. It's not a cheap venture, and there's a lot of analysis that goes into it. So a lot of people need to pay close attention, and the more So moving on now, if we don't have a good workforce to help us out, then we're going to be able to maintain these, and it is going to take the next generation to usher this in. So Megan Craig is going over that with us now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Good afternoon, everyone. The Rail Academy of Central California, also known as TRAC-C, is the Rail Commission's workforce development program that was developed with our educational partner, Sacramento City College, to address the needs of the community by providing living wage jobs, as well as prepare our future workforce throughout our passenger rail expansions. This 7-month program prepares adult learners and high school students who are interested in pursuing careers in the railroad industry, such as railroad engineers or conductors. The program offers classes in person in Stockton or online with a mandatory 24 hours of instruction held at our rail maintenance facility in Stockton. We have also partnered with Stockton Unified School District to offer the program through dual enrollment to high school juniors and seniors completely free of charge. This gives high school students the opportunity to secure high-paying jobs by the time that they graduate. And right now, we're also looking to expand this dual enrollment offering throughout San Joaquin County. Union Pacific Railroad and our ACE operator, Transit America Services Incorporated, have both committed to present to each of the Rail Academy cohorts information about the positions offered at their respective organizations, as well as benefits with working in the industry. Union Pacific Railroad has also committed to interviewing all successful graduates of the program. Rail Commission staff with Women in Transportation Seminar International and Amtrak have also committed to supporting the graduates through resume building and interview preparation. The first cohort of the Rail Academy graduated on August 1st, 2024, and 10 students received their railroad operations certificates of completion, and one of the students has already secured a job in the railroad industry. 5 of the graduates have already started the interview process with Union Pacific Railroad, BNSF Railway, Sierra Northern Railway, and Roaring Camp Railroad. The second cohort will graduate on November 24th, 2019. That concludes our presentation. We'd be happy to take questions.
And our last quick presentation and speaker before we get started in our questions for the Q&A is Bethany McCormick.
Hi everyone. Hey, I'm super excited about hearing about all this new technology. Any other nerds in the audience? Nice. So I'm going to start by bragging a little bit. Las Positas College. I used to say it was the best kept secret in the Tri-Valley. I don't know. I think a lot of people know about it now. We've gotten a lot of publicity in the last few years. Number one best community college in California in 2023. Now we dropped into 2024. We're number 2, darn it. But we're still number 4 in the country. And that means a lot because that means that we're taking care of the students that are coming there. They're happy, they're going on, they're successful. And if you've ever hired any of the Las Positas students, you know that it's a great quality of education that they're getting. I just want to point out that one Aspen Prize that we just received. And the reason we received it is we have a very progressive president who hired somebody like me that just focuses on strategic relationships with employers. And that's a best practice in the country that we don't see too often. So we're really, really happy to have a president that is that progressive. Just if you're not aware, this is not unique to Las Positas College. All community colleges, most I would say, 90% of the community colleges in California is where you get your diversity. About 70%, we average about 70% of the students are students of color. And in this particular case, we are a minority serving institution. Because of our location, it is 31% Hispanic. But the other thing I want you to look at are the numbers up here of where our students live. And this always like, Livermore, 1,600, okay, we actually are up to about 8,000 students this year, so this is last year's numbers. But look at how many people are coming from Tracy, and look how many people are coming from Mountain House, and then we have other cities, and that's Merced, and that's other villages. So we have as many students coming from the valley as we have coming from Livermore. So we are really serving a lot of the residents that live here. And why are students coming? First of all, there's 88 degrees, associate's degrees. There's 127 certificates. So we really offer everything, whether you want to transfer. By the way, one of the things that has been a hard pill for me to swallow is that when people ask me why my child that has a 4.6 in high school can't get into a UC, if you go to a community college, you have a guaranteed entrance into a UC school. So, you know, it's an amazing thing. So, and then why do students come? Why are they coming from the valley? Well, let me tell you that we have a beautiful new horticulture building, a facility. There's a lot of new buildings on campus, public safety, advanced manufacturing, transportation. Now, we're not servicing buses, but we are servicing cars there. I'll just say that for now. But the advanced manufacturing has an amazing welding and machining area, and of course, a lot of machines are coming from the National Lab, so it's cutting edge machinery there. And this is partly where the core, some of the education will come from for the hydrogen training too, those facilities. And last but not least, we just opened a new viticulture program, a new building, and we'll be filling that up with students as well. Okay, let's talk about Merced. Merced, as many of you are, I'm sure, aware, is very aggressively coming into the Tri-Valley. They are actually talking about teaching classes there. We have an MOU with Merced. Currently, many of our students go to Merced after they finish at Las Positas. But the key thing about Merced that I really like is, having been on many boards with the UCs, is one of the biggest concerns for our families is how much the cost of education is when you live on campus. And the ideal situation with Merced and Las Positas and those students going back and forth and having the light rail is allows those students to stay home and save money. The average student graduates with about $60,000 in debt, and so we want to grow local, we want to take care of our local students, and so the Merced MOU is really, really key. By the way, just so you know, Merced has just opened up a new medical accelerated program for med school, and talking to our dean from Delta College, we know that that's going to really increase the student flow as well going back. I'm standing up a program with several medical employers. By the way, there's 11,000 nurses in the next 5 years, and the doctors are even higher than that. So anyway, so Merced is there. The colleges are between Delta and Las Positas College. There's going to be a lot of interaction between those two schools in Merced. I know you want me to talk about hydrogen, so I'm going to do that. But I just wanted you to know the demand was there. And so, you've been hearing today that the CTTC, I guess I can use acronyms for this audience, the CTTC does have curriculum. That's the gold ring for curriculum for what we're talking about. And the community colleges are the system. We have prioritized, our chancellor has prioritized hydrogen safety and high voltage safety. And I don't know about you all, but I think that that's going to be the key thing. Because we know that the public is afraid, students are afraid of it, and to teach safety, not only to our students, but even opening up classes on what is hydrogen, what are the safety standards in a hydrogen producing plant? Well, we have the person that wrote the book on hydrogen from Sandia Labs on hydrogen safety, and so this is the area, we are in the right area at the right time for educating not only the community, but the workforce going forward. So, and then the Department of Energy has been working, well, I just mentioned the gentleman from the lab, because the national labs have been working on hydrogen and hydrogen safety for many, many years, so it is not new to the Department of Energy. So, what is the actual partnership relationship between LAFTA, I'm gonna call you Wheels, I like that better. And CTTC and Las Positas. Basically, at Las Positas, of course, the riders need the light rail, but we have the facilities that we have. One of the things that we've learned is that the students like to have the option of getting a degree rather than just a certificate. So when you have a community college involved, I'm thinking of, as an employer, about workforce retention. Is how do you retain that? They have to have a career path, right? So they may get a certificate in hydrogen safety or hydrogen technology program, but when you're working with a community college, they can get a degree in this college, an associate's degree. And many of the students that I hired from Las Positas when I was at the lab went on to get their engineering degrees after they finished the technician's degrees. So we want to think about the holistic picture about benefit to the students, and we will do that. And let me just say that workforce development, this is like the perfect place, the perfect time for this particular topic, because it is new, it is emerging, and the employers will be driving the curriculum. And that's what you want, because we don't want to have curriculum that is irrelevant to anybody. Okay, so that's my spiel for the day. I hope it was helpful for you. You can tell my passion. So thank you for your time.
So when we listen to these wonderful women and gentlemen that was up here earlier, it's about partnerships and about us coming together, whether we're in Contra Costa County or we're coming from Alameda County to San Joaquin County. It's really important to understand that this has been a lot of work in progress for many years. And so I know that we're getting ready to wrap up, so I do want to be able to ask our panel that was available to come here today just a few questions. And if we can get our executive director back up on here, Kevin Sheridan, that'd be great. So I will go ahead and start with Christy, who is our executive director for LAFTA. What are you most excited about in the innovation of hydrogen bus technology, and what do you see coming over the next 5 years?
Thank you for that question. What am I most excited about? I'm hoping hydrogen and zero emissions makes buses sexy again. If I could be truly honest with you. I think we struggle to get people out of their cars. There are a lot of people that are really focusing on the environment, and I just really hope that a hydrogen future for LAFTA will encourage more transit ridership and will encourage bus operators to be interested in driving for us, because we also have a problem being able to recruit and retain a qualified workforce. And what do I see as the future? I see hydrogen buses, I see local hydrogen production, I see better paying jobs, and it's very exciting.
All right, and also Momo, from our San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission, what are you most excited about in the innovation of hydrogen and rail technology, and what do you see coming over the next 5 years?
I'm just really excited about wider, broader adoption of hydrogen technology in general, even in light duties. I would like to see more hydrogen fuel cell cars. I know we all have battery electric cars, but I would like to see more hydrogen fuel cell cars. I'm also really excited and looking forward to our own efforts. So hopefully within 5 years or just a little bit beyond, we will have our ZEMU or our converted locomotives deployed somewhere on our line. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Thank you. And Bethany McCormick from Las Positas College, what's your excitement about the workforce development for clean transportation, and what do you see coming over the next 5 years?
Well, excuse me, I do see that it's, I really think that our students and the students that don't even know about it yet are gonna learn about it. And it's a whole new career path that's happening. And we've done a good job as parents and some of your grandparents. We've done a good job of making, this generation wants to contribute to clean energy. So I think we're really gonna be attracting a lot of students and able to provide them jobs that they can live here, livable wage jobs.
And I always think it's so exciting to be able to get the younger generation, I can say that because I will soon be 50 next year. But definitely getting them up and going and also the excitement that they have to bring forward, because their technology compared to our technology when we were growing up is completely different, and they're way ahead, way ahead. And also for Kevin, for our Executive Director of Valley Link, what are the key factors in Valley Link's decision to select hydrogen as a rail vehicle technology?
We want to be pursuing a zero emission and sustainable system. That's the main goal really at the state, and we want to be, there's another rail agency in the state of California in San Bernardino that has recently started this service up. But I think we can do better by having the bus connections with the rail, because kids are waiting longer to drive these days. They're looking for alternate ways to travel, and reducing congestion in this corridor and improving air quality is the number one goal in transportation right now.
So I will throw the second question at you again, just to piggyback on that first one is, what are the key factors in Valley Link's decision to self-produce hydrogen rather than purchase it from another supplier?
So it's interesting, we looked at this, and right now hydrogen is produced in other states or other parts of the state, and then it has to be transported to and from those agencies wishing to pursue using zero emission vehicles to comply with the governor's mandate, the climate action plan. So when you look at that, it's like, well, how's that hydrogen transported? Usually it's on diesel trucks. So how do you get zero emission when you're producing hydrogen and you're putting them on the road for 300 miles in a diesel truck? And it's nothing against diesel the trucking industry. They're trying to go towards battery and a hydrogen battery, because there's two types, right, for buses. So that's the thing. We want to not have to transport hydrogen hundreds of miles, because you really don't get the air quality benefits when you have to do that if you're transported by a diesel vehicle, powered vehicle.
Yes, absolutely. There's so many good benefits to be able to, for us to be able to produce it and potentially sell it as years to come. And I still love our truck drivers. My dad is a truck driver, and he drives an old diesel truck, and he's 74, but he still does his small loads, and it's actually, to hear him say from all the different technology throughout his entire life, he's probably getting ready to retire soon. And so, Bethany, what are some opportunities that you see for collaborating between academic institutions, public transportation operators, and the private industry on workforce development for a clean transportation?
Well, as I mentioned, the public transportation and employers that are involved with green energy are going to be driving the curriculum and the changes, and we'll be integrating that into the existing. It's not all recreating new curriculum. There's just some components of it. So really, that's the driver for upscaling, if you will, upskilling curriculum, and that's the partnership. And of course, we can't forget the California Transportation Transit Consortium, because they're really key to this too.
Thank you. And Momo, many in this room will help plan future hydrogen transit fueling stations and facilities in our area. What is your advice to these individuals, and what are some of the future challenges for the agency?
So the advice I have is that just make sure that we all have very robust service and operational plans for your service, for your application, because once you start working with the contractor who's going to be designing and building your facility, you really should be providing, this is the only time I have for you to fuel up our vehicles, or we have to be able to get to this station by this time. So we really should be dictating how they should be meeting our needs. So the robust service planning and the operational planning efforts, I think, is most important. The other advice I have is that hydrogen is not something that everybody is excited about yet. I think this is a different audience. We are all excited about hydrogen, but when you start going into communities, maybe there are some people who still have a negative perception towards hydrogen. So I think the public outreach, public education piece, to just get into the community and let them know that we are ensuring your safety, and then this is necessary for us to combat climate change. That sort of public outreach is really important. The challenge that we face, it's not just unique to my agency. I think this is a challenge to everyone in this room, and then not just for rail industry or the bus industry, but even in the light duty sector. I think is to look at the entire ZE ecosystem. So as Jordan mentioned when he was talking about the infrastructure, in order for us to be able to successfully transition to zero emission mobility, not only we have to have a vehicle that's able to, meet all of your operational requirements and performance requirements, but you also have to have a very reliable fueling station, and you have to be able to source your hydrogen in an affordable way. And so the entire ZE ecosystem, I think, is really important for us to make sure that everything is up and running. So I'm telling you all of this to say, because I have my own personal experience on the light duty side, I actually wanted to walk the talk, in this case, like drive the talk, if you will. So I bought the Toyota Mirai, which is a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, because I've been going around to all these conferences telling people like hydrogen is the way, let's do this. And so I wanted to really do it. But what happened was that I loved the vehicle. It performed so well. The performance, the deceleration, acceleration, it was quiet, the rider quality was fantastic, and I couldn't fuel it because there was only one hydrogen fueling station in greater Sacramento area. So every time I went, there was 12 cars or 9 cars waiting in front of me. One time I had to wait for 4 hours at the fueling station. So I'm not doubting about, this is the next technology, but we really have to look at the entire ecosystem.
And it's so true that it is so expensive. I have one friend, John Bowders, the former mayor of Emeryville, who had a hydrogen vehicle, and he said it was extremely expensive just to get the product. So we have to work in Sacramento and to make sure that we get see the future of hydrogen. And also Christy. Others in this room will help you plan future hydrogen transit fueling stations and facilities in our area. So what is your advice to these individuals?
Well, we're just starting on our fueling stations, so maybe I'll come back next year and give you some advice. But honestly, don't try it alone. People have done this. Find the right consultant. And we are really lucky because there are several transit agencies in the state of California who've already done this. AC Transit is in our backyard, so we learn from other folks who have already done this.
Thank you. I know we're running out of time, and we blocked it off for 2 hours. But right before I hand over the microphone to our assembly member, Carlos, I would like to just ask the audience if we can just maybe take a couple questions. If you happen to have any, if you don't, that's okay. You can always email them all to Kevin. But if we do have a couple of questions that need to be answered, we'd be more than happy to take those. Rolling, come on forward. I think we'll meet you kind of in the middle.
Thank you. So my question is for Kevin. You have to transport hydrogen. First of all, PG&E right now is studying ways to transport hydrogen, together with natural gas in their pipelines, and then split them when they get to their destination. But let's assume that you're going to keep on trucking. Is there any reason why you can't use a fuel cell truck, maybe a battery electric truck? Thank you.
That's a great point, Mr. LeBron. Yeah, Nikola Tesla or Nikola, there's a couple of different trucking manufacturers that are looking at both battery and hydrogen battery. Because I think sometimes folks don't understand is that it's not a hydrogen trains a battery with a hydrogen fuel source, and it trickle charges your battery as you go to and from. So we're looking forward to the trucking industry moving towards the hydrogen powered vehicles as well. And you know, we're sitting right in the middle of Tracy with Prologis and Lathrop and a number of other areas that are expanding. They have forklifts, and they're going to need trucks to help meet the zero emission vehicle standards in this state and as a leader in the country, really. Thank you.
And not seeing any other questions. I did want to take a moment. Go ahead.
Can I ask a question?
The microphone's coming to you.
Okay, so I just had a question about the rolling stock for Valley Link. So you guys went with the hydrogen battery form of powering, but was it considered to just go exclusively battery electric for these rolling stock? Because I have heard of versions that can use pantographs to basically charge at the station, so it kind of eliminates that benefit of hydrogen of being able to refuel really quickly, as opposed to charging, which takes much longer than that. And also being able to make the trip back and forth, right? I heard that was mentioned as in the range improvement from hydrogen. So that's kind of my question, why wasn't battery chosen?
So great, I think there's 3 questions in there, and I'll try and answer each one. So first, the state went with the hydrogen zero emission vehicle and supplied it to San Bernardino. So as far as what the state has decided to go with, overhead catenary is not ideal for every type of train system. It certainly works on some, but also what I think gets missed a lot is when you're running a timetable, especially if you might be on someone else's rail, like a freight rail, or interfacing with the freight rail, it takes time to charge. I've owned 2 Teslas, sold them both. And the reason I did is because every time I drive to San Diego, it puts another hour or 2 on my trip, because I have to stop in Santanella and Costa Mesa to 45 minutes to try and charge. So nothing against batteries. We have looked at batteries. Stadler makes a battery-powered train, and our board hasn't officially selected one, but we haven't ruled out any technology. So if we go with the zero-emission hydrogen vehicle, because the state has already went through the procurement process and demonstrated in San Bernardino, I think they're going. Roland will probably correct me on this. So 600 miles, I think they over-designed it to get 600 miles. So if you can imagine going over to Altamont, if it was all battery, it would use a lot of juice, so to speak, because if you're in a battery-powered car climbing a grade, that's where it would drain your battery. And then there's not enough regeneration going downhill to fully charge that battery. Then you have to stop at a station. Your dwell time on a high-frequency commuter rail is maybe 45 seconds to a minute. That's not enough time to charge and then turn around and move back the other direction. So in this application, it doesn't work as well, but we haven't precluded in the future if battery technology improves, there's nothing to say we couldn't switch over, because the tracks and the trains are similar. And other train manufacturers are also looking at that. As a man promise. Had too much for lunch or something. But yeah, they're great questions, but we did look at the other types of technology.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I did want to take a moment and a few seconds just to recognize Mayor Young. Thank you so much for joining us here, the Mayor of Tracy. We really appreciate your support here in Tracy, and also for always letting us use your chambers as well. So thank you so much. Thank you for making it out this afternoon. And last but not least, saving the best for last here, our state perspective on clean transportation and economic needs and opportunities, Assembly Member Carlos Villaputa.
Thanks, Mayor. Mayor, did you catch traffic on the way up? 0. Okay. You're gonna see it going back, right?
Yes.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me speak here today. As you may already know, our Northern California mega region is currently facing a situation that is urgently requires our attention and action. I hope I don't sound redundant, but over 1,005 Bay Area workers commute daily through the Altamont past their homes in northern San Joaquin Valley, a region recognized as one of the state's most devastating communities and low-income communities. These challenges have resulted in some of the county's longest commute times, highest congestion, and the worst air quality. We are facing a climate crisis that warrants swift action. Valley Link is being developed as the first passenger rail system in California to operate zero emissions, hydrogen rail vehicles, and producing green hydrogen with a hydrogen fuel production facility that can support the clean energy goals and other transit and heavy truck operators. The environment and the economic sustainability model is targeted to reduce the cost of Valley Link service to the public and offset the state federal transit operation subsides. And it is also struggling bus operations to act in the critical first and last mile linkage, generating more riders, helping to increase fare box and providing transit experience. Our region success depends on the collaboration of everyone today. So there was a lot of great discussions here today. And I'm very thankful that we have solutions to bring this opportunity to fruition. One example is the use of the SB 125 funds, which would allow for the $30 million investments to build the hydrogen facility. I supported SB 125 to help our region system include ACE, the San Joaquin Regional Transit District, and I urge the San Joaquin leaders that are here today, or urge you all to consider using the remaining balance of SB 125 funds to make this happen. An investment in hydrogen facility will lift all boats by improving the lives of our constituents and our environment. You know, a lot of that was been said today, and I actually learned a few. Was especially like I didn't think about the component of our educational system here. You know, going back and forth. The Central Valley years ago was just a place that just people would stop, gas up, and leave. And I've heard that for many years. And myself saw that. And as a former county supervisor, I remember how important it was to invest in making sure that even tourism was going to take part. Tourism is not just in San Joaquin County. We want to go to Tri-Valley. We want to make sure that we're going there, but sometimes it is so difficult for all of us. My staff today was saying to me, she goes, hey, you know, we're going to be here on Friday all day. I worry sometimes when you say all day, because I know if I do not leave Tracy to head back to Stockton, Lodi area, by 1 o'clock, I'm in traffic for a while. But as you saw today in this video, which a lot of us have seen it, our community has seen it, it's devastating for many, many people. And this is a talk that we have day in, day out. As a problem solver at the state of California, we need to make sure that we fix this problem. There's so many benefits to this, the jobs that it's going to create here. We have shown the workforce that we have here, that we can collaborate and work together. So I just want to say thank you for having me today. Thank you for what you guys are doing in our community. Thank you for sharing and working together, because all of you here are pioneers. And we're going to see this happen. And it's already here. It's going to happen. Thank you, Lord.
No, and thank you for leaving us with those last words because it is very true. The fact that when I first said that I first got onto Valley Link many years ago, and now where we're at now, it's pretty exciting. And if we wouldn't have been able to get here without the help from the state, $5 million that you and other legislators got together to be able to help us out with some of the money from the VB from Alameda County side, and also just the great knowledge of folks that, like our executive director and other folks that kind of keep us on our toes on a regular basis, Roland, to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And again, this is something that we are excited to keep growing many years. As you heard me say, many years in progress. And so we want to thank all of you for coming here this afternoon. We hope to keep the momentum going and going to other cities as well. But please feel free to come visit us on our website, and then make sure that any other further questions, you can email Kevin. But thank you so much again. And again, I want to thank Tracy Earth Project for putting the tables out for us. It takes a lot of people coming together, and also San Joaquin Regional Rail, Tracy Chamber of Commerce, and Valley Link and ACOM for coming together as partners just to make this afternoon happen. Thank you. Thank you to all of our board members as well.